Hello folks, welcome back. This is part 2 of the my introduction video series that I'm doing for my CA195 class. This video will focus on creating a basic polygonal mesh. So, let's begin. Alright, I will remind everyone of Maya's interface. Up here, we have the menu bar. Under the menu bar, we have the status line. Under that, we have the shelf. Over to the left is the toolbox. Right here is the range slider. Under the range slider is the command line. And over to the right is the channel box and layer editor. This is the area where the attribute editor will appear. And over in the middle we have a viewport. And it is currently set to perspective view. Alright, so today's aim will be to make a basic polygonal sword. So, what we will do is start with a basic model. Basic polygonal model. And that is a cube. And we can easily make one of those with this quick button on the shelf. So mouse over to that, click on it, and then mouse over to the viewport. On the grid, hit the left mouse button, drag outwards, and you will begin to set the base for your rectangular prism. That's right folks, we're going to aim to make a rectangular prism out of the polygonal cube. So once your base is set, let go of the left mouse button and hit it once more and hold it until you set the height of your rectangular prism. Once you do have it, let go of your left mouse button. Alright, now we have our polygonal mesh set down. It is currently in wireframe mode, so I will switch it over to the shader mode. That way we can see all the faces and the wireframe around it. Okay, over on the right side, the attribute editor has been filled with numerical values that stand for the position of the polygon on the grid and also its scale and size. So we can actually go into the attribute editor and adjust some of these. We can rescale our polygon with a lot more precision compared to, let's say, the scale tool itself, because we'll be dealing with numbers versus just like pulling on one end of a tool and such, and just using your eye to adjust accordingly. But aside from that, yes, I will show you an example of that. First, I want to rename this to sword, and of course it is our rectangular prism is called PQ because it is set to default under that name because we use the quick button polygon cube. So let's rename that to sword because that is what we're planning to make today. Alright, if we scroll down here, we can edit the width, height, and depth of our prism, and I would like everyone to adjust the width to 10, height to 2, and the depth to 2 as well. Currently, the rectangular prism is only subdivided once per face, so the faces aren't divided into smaller portions. It's just one gigantic piece. I would like us to divide it even further, that way we have a little bit more control over it. So let's readjust the subdivisions and substitute 6 for 1 in each of these. Height, width, and depth. There we go. Now all the faces are divided even further into smaller pieces. Now that we've subdivided our rectangular prism, subdivided the faces of our rectangular prism, let's switch over to 4-view. Now that we're in 4-view, I will show you how to extrude. Extruding is a way of creating new geometry using a component selected on your current polygonal mesh. So just to remind everyone about the components are vertices, faces, and edges. Alright, so now that we are in 4 view, I will position everything so that it is ready to go once we start extruding. I will center this rectangular prism in top view. Alright, and that will zoom into it a bit. One thing I forgot to mention about the select tool is that you can make little boxes with it just like you can in any other standard program like say Photoshop or Illustrator or any Windows based programs. This will allow you to select multiple objects. So let's go into face mode. And since we have so many faces available, that means we have a good selection ready to choose from. And I would like us to focus on the center rows here. So I'm going to form a box using the select tool by holding down the left mouse button and dragging all the way around to the last portions of, or should I say the last bit of the row of these faces. And there we go. I've selected both of these rows and they are now highlighted in a yellow-orange. If you look down here in front view, you can see that the bottom of the polygon also has some faces selected. Normally Maya does that if you use the selection box, so that's no worry. In fact, that's exactly what I want us to use to extrude. I want us to extrude from not only one side but both. So let's get into that. In fact, there is one. Oh no, looks like everything is good to go. So let's scroll over to the Edit Mesh drop-down menu and let us pick Extrude. Alright, it looks like we have a couple of arrows that have appeared. We're going to use the blue arrow to extrude away from the main rectangular prism right now. And you can see that as we pull on the arrow right now, we are extruding two new pieces of geometry. And I'd say that would be good. Alright, since we pulled on both sides at the same time, both turned out equally in size. So, now let's go back to perspective view here. Don't worry about selecting it here on the panel, let's just stick to the 4 view, and let's rotate to the bottom of our new sword. Alright. Now, just like before, in order to deselect, we click outside of the geometry. And our goal right now is to select the 8 faces here on the bottom of the sword. So let's select them individually while holding Shift. Shift will allow us to select multiple faces at once. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if it was not clear, in order to select these bottom faces, what I did was I individually clicked them with the left button while holding the Shift key. Alright, so now I would like us to use Extrude once more. So go to the drop down menu and hit Extrude. Alright, so down here in the front view, pull on the blue arrow and extrude a little further outward. Just a bit. That should do it. Alright, now head up to the Edit Mesh drop down menu again and hit Extrude once more. Our goal here is to create subdivisions. So instead of just having, let's say, one large extrusion that extends all the way to the point where we want it to be, what I'm aiming to do is have it so that we have some subdivisions ready for us to manipulate later. Alright. Now we have those set and ready. Okay. Now I would like to use the select tool again, and I would like to select the front faces and the back faces that lie in the middle of our handle, or what will be our handle. So let's do just that. And let's scroll over to the scale tool. The aim here is to try to manipulate the handle so that it appears more rounded than what it is now. It's very flat, so it would make for a really awkward handle. So the box that I would like us to pull on would be the Z box, which is the blue one. So you can either pull on it here or say on the top view. Let's pull on it here and keep an eye on the top view. And let's stop at about the edge of the rectangular prism. There we go. Now we have something that's just a bit more rounded. Alright, now that that's set, let's select all of the faces down there. The goal here is to rescale the handle so it's a bit smaller. So the main square that we're going to have to use is the middle square, since it scales on all axes. Alright, scale it down just a bit, not too much. That should do it. Alright, now deselect it and reselect the bottom. You don't necessarily have to go select the select tool in order to create a box, or say select the face. It can be done easily just by clicking on anything you need. So right now I want us to create a box at the bottom of the handle, over the faces on the bottom of the handle. And I would like us to once more scale the bottom handle, and I would like to scale it on all axes. So let's pull on the middle of the box, I should say, and that should do it. Alright, use the rectangular prism in top view to use it as your reference point. That way you know where to stop, and there you go. Alright, now it looks like we have the handle set. Let's flip over to the top so that we can take care of the blade. Alright, in perspective view I have flipped over to the top of the sword, and now I will hold the shift key to select all 8 faces at the tip of the blade. Alright, looks like everything's selected. Now I will go to the edit mesh menu and hit extrude. In front view I will pull on the blue arrow, and that will extend or extrude a new piece of geometry out of that face that we have selected, or the faces we have selected. Alright, let's extrude once more, and there we have it. Let's stop right there. Whoops. Okay, and let's switch over into vertex mode. That way we can select vertices. Our aim here is to adjust the tip of the sword. So let's select all the vertices using a box, and let's use the scale tool to try to make a point out of the vertices at the top. So let's grab the yellow box and pull inward to make a tip. Alright, now that we've accomplished that, I will switch into perspective view, and I will show you how to save your model. And also I will save this in the directory that I created last time around on my desktop. So let's go to the file drop down menu, hit save scene as, and I will save this as sword model 3. Alright, this window will pop up, and it is basically for the student version of Maya. Hit continue, and let's check out the desktop. And since I saved it as a scene, it should and is in the scenes folder. Excellent. Alright, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me, email me, text me. You guys know how to get in touch with me. Thanks again for watching, and have a good one. Goodbye.